Hey guys, David Wampler here. I just want to talk about bullet setback. What is bullet setback? Bullet setback happens when a bullet is stripped from the magazine and impacts the front of the feed ramp and or the top of the chamber when the bullet is actually going into the gun. What are the causes? Like, what will that bullet setback cause? That'll ultimately cause increased pressure spikes that can be extremely catastrophic to a gun. I've seen in many cases bullets go as from, like, for instance, my open round, I like to run a length of 1.18. I've seen bullets go as short as 1.145. Ultimately, what it does is the bullet gets pressed back into the powder, and the powder is what stops the bullet from going any further back. And I've seen with a few different types of brass. Some brass is stronger than others. Just in the past, I've noticed that, like, federal brass is not quite as durable or as strong as, let's say, like Winchester brass is. And that could change. I mean, as manufacturers change who they're ordering their components from, and like who's developing, and saving money. If you're paying for a little bit cheaper materials, then I mean, I understand it's a business, but at the same time, the end consumer, we kind of pay the price. So like I said, I tend to find that federal brass seems to be a little bit softer. Anyway, how can you address bullet setback? Well, right here I got a Dillon 1050. This is my reloading setup. I kind of reload in the closet. But right here I have my Dillon resizing depriming die. This is a common die that a lot of people use. This is actually not the die that I normally use. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you exactly why I don't use this die. It's crazy because when bullet setback happens, that means, like, obviously the case neck is not holding the bullet in place, and it's all about making this right here of the piece of brass more rigid and just stronger. And so the Dillon die does a good job resizing, but it doesn't undersize it. And here, I'll go through right now and I'll show you. I don't have primers in this right now. I'm just gonna make dummy around. Anyway, that's a piece of federal brass. It's coming through here. This Dillon die right here I'm going to resize it. Goes through. Obviously, I'm just going to short stroke that because I don't want have nothing to swage. Coming down through here, that would be the priming station. Here's the powder. Come through. Here's a powder drop. Now, keep in mind. Let's look at this. If you can see it. If I can get the camera to focus on it. As you can see, the powder is pretty high. I mean, this is a 9 major round. I like to run 7.4 grains of silhouette. Believe it or not, it is not a compressed load. The bullet has plenty of room. I actually have room to seat that bullet a little bit deeper. I like to run silhouette with 7.4 grains of silhouette because it gives me kind of like a buffer. I know there's a lot of guys that like to run 3 and 38 or AA7, and it does fill the case up almost to the brink where you're having, compressed loads. Some cases you do, some cases you don't. 9mm vary so much that you're going to have different case volumes per piece of brass, like per different types of manufacturers. But anyway, I like to run silhouette because it tends to be more reliable. And I just like the load too. It feels very good out of my open gun, out of my chaos. But all right, let's go a little bit further. Let me put a bullet on top of there. Boom. I'm going to seat this down right now. Seat that. I'll just catch the bullet here. Boom. And I got a 9 major round. This is 1174. Okay? If I take this against this table right here, if I take this round, and this is with the Dillon die, what I can do is I can simply take this, push it against the table, push it straight up against the table, and that round just got shorter. Let's measure it real quick. Boom. Look at that. Look how far that pushed in. That went from 1174 to 1139. Ultimately, this bullet is now pressed right up against the powder, which is now a compressed load. Which what I just did by pushing this against the table right here is not even close to how the bullet's going to impact that feed ramp and or the top of the chamber of your gun. So now this is a volatile round. What's a good way to prevent this from happening? To strengthen up this feed neck, or not this feed neck, but the case wall. Let's do this. I have another die sitting right here, right in front of me. This is the Lee U die, or undersized depriming die. This is what I go to, and this is my main die that I would use on a day-to-day basis. On my wrench, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right through here, and I'm going to uninstall this die, and I'm going to install the Lee. Alright guys, all back. I got my Lee depriming undersized die installed on my 1050. I'm going to run, I got 2 pieces of federal brass right here that haven't been touched, they're once fired. So I'm going to throw them through the press and see what happens when we use the undersized die. What that's going to do is undersize the neck of the bullet just ever so slightly. I think it's about, it undersizes by 3/1000ths of an inch. So I mean it barely undersizes it, but it makes a huge difference as far as that neck strength. So in holding the bullet through all the steps as if you were loading a normal round. Powder, bullet at the top. Crimp it, and boom, there we go. We got a bullet. Let's measure this puppy. Let's see what we got. Let's make sure we're at 0. Bring it back out. We're sitting at 1177. Okay, 1177. Let's see what we got. Let me push this against the desk again. See if this one sets back. See what we got here. 1177. As you can tell clearly that using this undersized die definitely increases the neck strength and definitely holds the bullet in place better. Let me get a little close up of this. You can actually tell that it's got a little bit of like a bow tie to it. You see this a lot more in like 147 grain production ammo, but believe it or not, like with this, when you're barely holding the bullet here, with shooting, let's say this 9 major, it makes a huge difference that you get that top, you know, neck strength. So you do keep that bullet from setting back and creating those high pressures that ultimately end up breaking your gun. I think this is something that ultimately, I think this is a die that every reloader that shoots 9 major and or anybody reloading should go to. That's how I feel about bullet setback. This is the easiest way to prevent it, and you know, the die's 20 bucks on Amazon. Get it, buy it. It's the best investment you'll ever make. All right, see you guys.